God's beauty is shown in our ugliest moments. And that's what I call a masterpiece. Your next move be your best move, on God. That's for real like the Neptunes, on God. No ego, cause I gotta take off like the Migos, on God. It's the best move, if you ain't talking about that, God bless you, on God. Like an ego, cause I gotta take off like the Migos. You've been giving it your all, you've been reaching for the stars in the storm, you can tell me what it feels. Famalam, what up, what up, what up? We back. That's right, man. God Made Dirt, the podcast where we have real conversations behind the curtain of religion. The stuff that the church is too churchy, too religious to talk about, or the world may be too embarrassed to talk about. We gon' talk about it. And you know, you got your boy Marcel B the MC in the flesh, live in the flesh, you dig, on God. It's on all platforms. I'm plugging it like every episode. So if you ever get tired of it, that's too bad because I'm still gonna do it. You dig? And you got me. We also got the lead lady BK in the house.
Woo-woo.
What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? We got Ventura County's the she's over the land ministry. And making sure that you experience your land, you dig? We got Lachelle in the house. What up? What up? What up? And last and definitely not least, we got the drummer extraordinaire, the cigar connoisseur. Money Mike is what we call him. Money Measy, you dig? Man, I give great intros. I just want to say that. I just want to say that.
Yes, you do.
I give
Yes,
great
you do, no
intros.
doubt.
And let's not forget our brother. You know what I'm saying? Tarmel, the chief geek. Shout out to the cold cracker himself,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Female.
He's tied up with some other things, so we're gonna hold it down for him tonight. And man, season 3 is upon us. You know, by now y'all done caught up with Lachelle and dived into her world, and we gonna keep it going, man. But before we dive in, y'all, how y'all doing, man? You know, I think it's only right, man. Special announcement. Now I know y'all saying we had a special announcement for BK on the first episode. BK had a man, you know what I'm saying? She done got her groove back, right? But she got another announcement for y'all. BK, share that with the people. What's good?
I was getting married. About time, thank you, Jesus.
And if you've been watching GMD, you know last season BK was very transparent about her romance path and her love life, and you know just the challenges that she's faced. And we've been in faith for this moment, and it is great to see God show up and show out in that area because it's been on our hearts, her heart, and we all want to say congratulations to you, BK.
Congrats, BK.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, and thank you, Jesus. Thank you.
For sure. And
It
Mike,
went from
go
it
ahead.
went from her kicking in a man's door, punching him in the face, to now saying I do. BK, I'm proud of you, girl.
Speak on it, Mike.
Thank
Speak
you.
on
I
it.
cleaned up. I cleaned up well. Okay.
Right.
A
right,
whole
man.
180.
Man, BK killing these hair wraps. She done got her a fiance. Man, there's nothing. She done went to Paris. She done toured the world. Man, BK, you probably had one of the best past 365 days of anybody, man, that I know, man. You've been
Right.
killing it this past year. So, man,
Walked on
continued
water,
success.
everything.
So, man, Lachelle, what's been up with you, man? You know, what's going on? What's popping out in Cali for you?
Life has been lifing on my end. Adulting 10 out of 10 do not recommend at this time. But
Life
you
been
know,
lifing.
life been lifing. So
Love
I've
it.
been working through some hurdles, praying through some hurdles, and just looking forward to getting back in my groove with my business and enjoying life again and having a good time. And you know, just it's only up from here. That's all I could say. It can't be no way else but up.
You dig? I'm
All
with it,
right.
man. Nothing can stop you. We all the way up.
Way up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Money Measy.
Yes, sir.
What's going on with you, man? I think you got some news for the people too, man. What up?
Hey,
Come on now.
So finally got this cigar business off the ground.
Let's
got my
get
domain
it.
name,
Yes.
social
Yeah.
media. Already been in contact with a few cigar businesses, reaching out, stuff like that. So yeah, I posted it earlier. Thanks to big ups to Marcel, my whole crew, even you guys, you know, always believing in me, even praying from afar. So it's officially Cigars with Mike. So for anybody who, need any tutorials with cigars, how to light, anything you want, rare cigars, reach out to me. I'll help you guys out. Cigarswithmike.com. Or you can email me. Shameless plug again. It's time for me to do the shameless plug. You feel me?
Do
You can
it.
email me at cigarswithmike.com, cigarswithmike@gmail.com. Check out my Instagram at cigars_with_Mike as well. So all your cigar pleasures, any questions you have, reach out to me. I'll take care of you.
That's
Oh,
dope,
I
Yeah,
gotta
man.
get
I'm gonna
Congrats,
need
good at
bro.
that
the
chocolate
plugs.
pepper
Yes,
one.
bro. Yeah. So I'm definitely gonna make sure y'all get the links in the description. And man, for me, your boy was on TV, you dig, last
Yes,
week, man.
sir.
Did it big.
Man, I was on the Afro Network, The Lowdown with James John. I had a great time. They filmed here in Orlando. It was a super dope experience. I had never been on TV before. I had to do makeup, sound check, and I performed and interviewed. That performance and interview is available on the God Made Dirt channel. Check it out. It aired last week, which was dope, like to film, and it aired that night. I watched myself on TV that evening. That was super dope, man, and just been amazing, man. Just I haven't even really. I know I plug on God every week on the show, right? But I haven't really done a whole lot of promotion with the song, which I will be doing. And it's just amazing to see God provide these different opportunities for me to perform the song, talk about the song, and just really share the path with it, man. But it's been super dope, man. Man, shout out to my man Jared. Meet the Masons, man. Made the Maximize. Shout out to James John, the Afro Network. Tight Mike. Shout out to everybody down there, man. And I look forward to more TV appearances for your boy, for real. I'm in faith that really, exposure leads to expansion. So I can't unsee that experience. So
That's
I
good.
definitely want to be on TV even more, and I look forward to it. And I got to get this album done. So y'all know every week, we dive into the life of one of the cast members, and this week it is the soon to be married woman herself, BK. So we're gonna hop into the backstage pass with BK. Without further ado, let's do it. Backstage pass, y'all.
Hey guys, it's your First Lady BK, and welcome to my Backstage Pass. I wanted to give you guys a glimpse into a typical Free Friday for me. For those that don't know, outside of the podcast, I work as an account manager from home, and I'm also a loctician, and I run my own body care business, Be Adored. So I'm off to the spa for some self-care, which is high on my list of mental must-haves when I have the free time, which I often don't. And once that's all said and done and I'm relaxed, it's off for an adventure. On this day, my fiance and I decided to go down to Pagan Canyon Road to get to the Pacific Palisades because I want to show him this place called the Getty Villa. Now, the Getty Villa is a museum in the Pacific Palisades, which is free. It enjoys Greek and Roman art and is housed in a recreated Roman seaside home. It's filled with so much culture and great art. I must say, absolutely great art. And the place is just beautiful. And sometimes they even put on shows for the culture. See? Like I said, the culture, the art, the view. Oh my gosh, the view. And on this sunny day, everything popped. The architecture, the colors, the design, everything. It was truly a vibe, and it's a very tranquil place. It's great to come. And did I mention, I probably already did, it is free. California has tons of places like this, especially Southern California, for you to get out and adventure. So if you follow me on my page, I'm a Good Thing, you'll see that I often do these backyard adventures to show you like what's in my local area and culture. So after this day, my fiance and I decided to head to Paradise Coves, which is in Malibu, right off the beach. It's a restaurant where we decided to have dinner. Unfortunately, I forgot to take footage for you guys. I'm sorry, trust me, I will do better. But here we go. After dinner, we're headed right back up into the valley. I wanted to show him some great views. You know, he loves a view. He doesn't really get those from back home. Very different from ours, but we both agree that California is such a majestic and beautiful place to go. So we're always looking for a view. And I just wanted to share some of that view with you guys for a hike. And here you go. Man, I'm telling you, it's absolutely beautiful. And if I couldn't say it better, God made dirt and he made it great. So thrive in it.
And we back, man, and that's
Yes,
Backstage
sir.
Pass with BK, man. BK, we appreciate all your transparency. Thank y'all for sharing. So far, it's been the ladies. Y'all have taken us into y'all life, man, and we really do it to show y'all, our lives, away from the cameras, just to give you a more look into our individual lives. Lachelle and BK are out in Cali. Mike and I are in Florida, and Tarmel is in Michigan. So it's cool to see these different, we're all opposite coasts, so it's really cool, we think, to be able to share that with y'all, just us staying transparent. So but let's hop in, man, because we don't want to keep the people long. The episode, I was actually thinking of a title on this, kind of corny, but I was thinking Roe versus Wade versus Christ with a question mark, right? Because we
Mm,
got to find out where it is, man, because we're going to dive into this subject of abortion today, right? Um, and we did a lot of talking in the pre-show, just getting ready for the episode. We've been talking about this over the past week, and we feel that it's only right that GMD gives a GMD perspective on it. But to give the people a little background on this, I had to do my research. Just so you know, I always read and provide data. This is from Britannica, right? So I don't really go to shade, no shade on Shade Room, but that's not my news source. I like to go to where the facts are and just real data to give to y'all, just so y'all know. But Roe versus Wade, right? Legal case in which the U.S. Supreme Court on January 22nd, 1973, the vote was 7-2, that unduly restrictive state regulation of abortion is unconstitutional, right? And a majority opinion written by Justice Harry A. Blackmun, the court held that a set of Texas statutes criminalizing abortion in most instances violated a woman's institutional right of privacy, which it found to be implicit in the liberty guarantee of the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment, which is now, nor shall any state deprive any person life, liberty, or property without due process of law. This was in combination with also Planned Parenthood versus Casey,
mm,
which, because after Roe versus Wade, a lot of the states, I think around 30, um, still had some restrictions on abortion, and Planned Parenthood was actually expanded upon that. And so what we've learned recently is, I believe on May 3rd of this year, the Supreme Court voted to overturn both of these cases and rulings, with a draft document, which could possibly lead into these being overturned and trying to turn this back over to state elections. So we it seems like we're going in reverse at first upon hearing this, but it's caused some uproar across the country, across the world. Even and it's interesting to see a lot of the countries outside of the United States still take part in a lot of the unrest that we experience in our country. But we got to talk about it. So what we've seen is that a lot of the lawmakers are male based, right? And so making these type of decisions when it comes to a woman's body has been, the main point of this entire thing. So by us having ladies on God Made Dirt, we initially thought it'd be appropriate to just have the ladies speak on this. And so we talked to them about it, and they said that they wanted a male perspective on this. They kind of bullied us, y'all. They bullied us.
true.
No, no,
That's
no,
true.
they didn't bully. They didn't bully us. It was our pleasure to oblige and to be able to be on this show and provide a male perspective. But I will be the one asking a lot of the questions. They may have some questions for me. First one for you ladies. Let me ask you first. What made you two want a male perspective on this when it seems that it's already been heavily influenced by men? BK, because you've been super passionate. What I'll let you go first. What made you want a male perspective?
I wanted the common male perspective, not a lawmaker male perspective, because they seemed hell bent on controlling women's bodies, in my opinion. But it made me think, like, throughout just interactions with my brothers and you guys, just you guys have a voice too. And sometimes you might not want to speak on it to keep peace, but I really wanted to know, like, what is your perspective on this? Like, why do you feel that these men in these positions have a right over our bodies? And do you kind of agree with them?
Hmm.
So that's why it's like, I think it's important to have that, the typical male perspective, a married man's perspective, a father, not to say that they aren't, but they're coming with a lawmaker mindset. And to me, it's bigger than just a law. So I wanted to know, from you and Mike, like, what is what's your point of view on that? Your perspective?
So are you answering the question with the question? Is that what you're doing?
Nope, I'm putting it
Okay.
back on your plate.
Okay. So I'm gonna answer that. I first want Lachelle to tell us why she also wanted a male perspective, but it's right after she answers. I will definitely. I'll provide my answer to that.
So here's the thing. I believe that women can talk and we can run our mouth and give our opinions, our point of view all day long. But when men hear men speak, they're more likely to listen.
Hmm.
So I think in order for men to speak up, right, because y'all are able to go to the polls and vote too, then more men need to hear more men speak that don't agree with what these radical men are doing. So that's my take on it. It's just like, we hear women complain about like a woman can't raise a man. Why? Because that young man at a certain point, 9 times out of 10, is going to stop listening to mom because that's mom. But if you put a male into that equation, his father with that dominant voice and that dominant presence and able to identify with him on a level that mom can't, his ears are more likely to be opened.
Hmm. That's a great point.
So I think we need to get away from this being a woman problem and see that it's a human problem, especially as Black people. We know that when they start putting up laws like this, they coming for us. They coming for the Black and brown people. It's just a step to get back to
Hmm.
where things were before, if that's the goal.
Got you. Okay. So great answers. And I understand them. Uh, Now to your question, BK. How do I see this? Um, I see it different ways. Tarmel and I actually had some conversations about these, and I definitely wanted to share some of the things that we touched on. The first thing is that um, for us as men, well, let me answer the first question. How do I feel about it? I feel that that no one's body should be governed by by the government. I don't think there's you should never have a mandate. The only thing that should govern someone's body is the word of God to me, right? That's it.
Hmm.
I don't think a federal law should ever govern someone's body, right? That's my bottom line on it. Um, the but the complexities to this are are so wide to me, right? There are women that feel that this is justified, right? There are women that feel that this should be a law. There are women that feel that this shouldn't be a law, right? So the fact that you have it's not a woman, that's how you know it's not a man versus woman thing. When you have women that are divided on this subject, and there are men that are divided on this subject. But I think that's all the more reason to not have you can't, when you have that variance, you can't just stamp something on it, right? That's another reason why. Um, but then you also get into what the word of God says when it comes to this as well, you know. Um, and we'll get into that, I believe, later on in the show. But to just tell you my overall, I don't feel anyone, a woman's body should not be governed by the federal government. What about you, Money Mike?
Um, so I agree with you when it comes to a federal government passing a law what a person can do or not do with their body. What I will say is only people I feel like should be able to vote on something like that is the mom and the father. Like I do believe that that's a dialogue that should be had, um, and weigh out pros and cons. Here's why I'm deciding not to keep it. Here's why I'm deciding to keep it, and hear each other out. Um, I saw this stand up thing by Dave Chappelle where he made a joke about he was saying that if a woman, it's okay for a woman just to have an abortion without consent, it should be okay for the male to not take care of it. Now, what I will say is it's some truth in that, but at the same token, I also understood the joke of it. So that's what brings me back to only that father, potential father, and that soon to be mom should be the only people to have those type of dialogues. Picture somebody telling me, "Oh, you know what?" Because you never know. Some people, it's trauma for some people. I hate saying words like rape and stuff like that, but those things play a part. And it's like you telling me if somebody forcefully did something to me, I don't have that right to do what I need is necessary for me. That's out of bounds. That's totally out of bounds, if you ask me.
Hmm.
Mm.
Oh,
You know,
interesting.
Mike, you have a good point. And if this was an issue of consent, or I think it should turn into an issue of consent based on your perspective, because I could speak from experience. When I got a suicidal message, goodbye message from my brother, he put in that message that he was stressed about having a baby on the way, and him and the girl had previous discussions on, if that was to happen, she would have an abortion, like they had already agreed, and she got pregnant and changed her mind.
Hmm.
So I think I would be more interested in the consent thing taking place, where like
Hmm.
both parties have to sign off or agree to it,
I
Promissory
like
notes
that.
or something
or
like that. Yeah.
I
yeah,
like that.
if not, this is what happened. If one decides they want it, the other one don't, then this is how this is gonna go. So proper expectations are set up front.
I like
However,
that.
if we being honest, it should never get to this point, because there's a lot of things in place to avoid pregnancies. And you know you just have to be aware of the potential consequences, and
It's
be
true.
willing to put your big boy, big girl panties on, and deal with your consequence, whatever it may be, right?
That's why it feels so good to have one woman because I can hot dog whenever I want. You know, I can hot dog whenever I want. However, go ahead, Michelle.
No, I'm that's I'm
Oh
just
man,
saying. And that's
that's
why, like, what's more
yep.
important than them trying to put this law in place? And first of all, I'm just saying, I hate how complicated government makes things.
Yeah,
Like,
man.
give us the 30 bullet points of what y'all trying to do here, and then
Yeah,
tell us why y'all trying to do it. Because with a
Yeah.
lot of these things, we don't know why. We're
right.
just speculating why, and it's probably power,
Yeah.
probably has something to do with economics, probably has something to do with some form of oppression, because you have to look at the demographics of who's having these abortions,
Mm-hmm.
right? And how that financially impacting. And I don't have those answers, but if we had those answers of why they're doing this, and we could understand the thought processes and the intentions, then that would give us clarity as a country. But those are the things that they don't want us to know.
Yep. Like
Hmm.
this, it's funny you say that. I thought about that today. It was like, did somebody just wake up one day and say, I want to vote on abortion today? Like, what was the trigger? This, these cases were decided years ago, right? What made somebody say, and I'm sure it's probably been in the works, but again, what was the trigger, right? Did somebody, powerful be affected by abortion emotionally to say, no, something's got to be done about this? Did the number reach a certain threshold? Like you said, what was the trigger to make this come back up? Like, I know this comes up as in elections in recent years, like, every time it's one of the bullet,
Mhm.
the topics that are debated. But what was the actual trigger to make this occur, man? That's a great point. I love the consent idea by you guys. That I think that's super dope. That's almost like, if you got to sign a consent, it's like another form of safe sex. If
Yeah.
you got to do this consent, now you're gonna be a little more careful when you think about it. That's
And
super dope.
also,
Well, this
I
is
always
another thing I
go. I'm
got to
sorry,
say.
BK.
Oh, my
Go
bad.
ahead. Go
This
ahead, man.
is something that I got to say about the consent thing. It sounds nice, however, it's flawed, just like most of the laws, because we're human beings. We have the ability to change our mind at any moment. You could put that consent down, and this woman can sit here and feel like, great, I can have his baby. He doesn't want it. That's fine. That baby comes, and then that man's like, I want to be part of that baby's life. But you signed this consent. You have no say.
But he has to live with that because,
Mm-hmm.
for example, let me say this: I'm paying $1,800 a month on this 2 bedroom over here, right? Hey, Mr. Rent Man, how to change your heart? It don't work like that. You made
Right.
a choice, and you got to live up to that choice.
Mm.
You have now. You have what? Not what 7 to 9 months, and I say 7 to 9 because it should be a cutoff when you can make that decision. But you got 7 to 9 months to go. Hey, am I emotionally attached, or do I want to stick to what I said? Those are choices we make. Hey, I know if I lay down with this woman, there's a 50-50 chance that she's going to be carrying my baby. Is that
Mm.
something I'm ready for? And if not, let me strap up or I discontinue myself from this particular woman.
Yeah,
It's
but
And
now
it
Yeah,
could
Mike.
but there's some people at a certain age that don't understand the concept of 50-50. And that's why you have teen pregnancies. Then you have some men that just don't flat out care. They do not
see, and it could
care.
be fluid, right? Like the consent form would have an outline, but it's like a prenup where people
correct.
go to the table and they have like, I want this in my prenup, I want this in my prenup, and the other party's like, no, I don't agree to that. Let's do this. No, I don't agree. You know what I'm saying? So it could have some. And of course, if we're talking about teenagers, then the parents got to be involved, right?
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
like, it could have some fluidity. I am that
It's
word got
okay,
me.
Lachelle.
Well, yeah,
But
we got you.
it does. It's not like the law would be that you have to have some kind of consent form, some
Yeah.
kind of agreement if you want to get an
Yeah.
abortion.
The
Now,
mom.
what's
Oh, I'm
in
sorry.
that
Go ahead, Lachelle.
agreement could change.
Yeah, but now we're getting into, now you need laws around that now, right? Now you need
But it
laws.
but
What
it's
if somebody
still
breaches
between.
contract? What is some, you get what I'm saying? Like,
But
you
it's
get
still
into laws
between the.
now.
But it's still the power of those two people involved, though.
I agree with that.
If
I
I
agree with that.
sue you, I'm suing you, not the law suing you. They just backing whatever I'm suing you for. You
Right.
get what I'm saying? So it's still my choice because I can either go, you know what, let's rip it up, let's raise this baby, or I want to go, hey, no, it still stands. Let's keep it going. It's still my or her decision to do what I can drop a lawsuit anytime I want because I filed the lawsuit. You get what I'm saying?
Nope.
So
Yeah,
Now
for
you're
sure.
getting into fraud. Now you're getting into all this other
it's no
stuff that
fraud.
can happen.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
because
Well,
somebody can forge that document and say, no, I have a document that says he consented. You're like, what? I never
Hey
consented. I
man,
have this
they
document. I
got
right,
didn't
notaries.
consent.
They
See?
have
right.
notaries for a reason.
Yeah,
Right.
man. Well,
But you can
y'all.
also get anybody notarized. You'd have to follow with the court for it to be legal.
Look,
These things, like this
look.
is
I told
all
I
too
told
much and it's
myself I
getting
was just
past the
gonna
point.
smile and nod.
Well, look
So
here, man. Look here, man. Look, y'all heard it here first. The pre-family agreement. That's coined by God Made Dirt. Pre-family agreement is what that is,
mm,
man. So look
Run us
here.
our coins when y'all create
Yeah,
that.
exactly. Don't
Okay.
don't don't try to take credit for that. This is time stepped and everything on YouTube. You hear me? So look, and check this out. Next question for y'all. Do y'all think there's a difference in the view of a Christian woman versus a non-believing woman on this subject? And if so, why? Lachelle, what's your thoughts on that?
I think there can be, because whether or not you're Christian doesn't mean you're gonna, tailor your decision a certain way. So I definitely think there can be a difference, and I think there can be similarities. It's just it's not black and white.
Got you. BK,
I feel that.
is there a difference to
Uh,
you?
no, just because I know Christian women that have even gotten an abortion. They know it's not right, but they know what they can't deal with. They know whatever
Hmm.
that situation that came about happened. Do they regret it? Of course they do. But nonetheless, they know that their life was better because they made that decision.
Mhm.
Got you.
And, no, be it whether a woman is a Christian or not, that decision is a hard decision to make. It's not
Yeah.
something
Big
that you go
facts.
into unlightly. It's not something like, oh, well, let me go over here. It's harder than purchasing a gun. It's a hard decision to make. And um, I think once you really hold into your faith, the decision becomes more clear.
Hmm.
But it still should be up to that person to do it,
100%.
Christian or
Now,
not.
I agree with both of you ladies because it's like, as Christians, we know right from wrong, period. So we can't go this sin or this wrong is better than the other because it's like, you know, drinking, having sex before marriage, that's all wrong.
Yep.
So we can't remove those things just to say you're making a better choice for your life or what you feel is, it wouldn't be fair to take that and make that bigger than sex before marriage or any other sin we do as Christians. So I agree with both of the perspectives the lady said.
So do we all agree that it's wrong, but it's just still a tough decision? Do
I
we
can
all
definitely
agree
agree with
that it's
that.
wrong?
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
can, yeah,
What
Okay.
I have to say is that I believe God is pro-choice, because
Agreed.
if He wasn't pro-choice, then we wouldn't have free will.
I love
So
that.
just like everything else, I'm fighting a coughing spell right now.
Mhm. It's all
But
good.
just like everything else, we have to deal with the consequences of our actions, be it good or bad.
Yeah. Cough that
I like
out.
that.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I
Cough it out.
completely agree. That must have been
Yeah,
an
I
ugly cough. She cut the camera off.
right. I agree completely on that. Man. So one thing, and I didn't really put this in a list of questions, but I've been through abortion. You know what I'm saying? One thing that's disturbing for me when it comes to the church, man, is those people outside with those signs, man. It seems like they have good intentions, but those actions come through heartless, man, because they have
Hmm.
no idea the situations that the people are dealing with going through those. They have no idea, like none at all. And so it's just
Hmm.
a picket sign for every situation that comes through that door or is trying to drive through that parking lot. And they paint themselves as Christians, you know.
Hmm.
But I just got to say that, man. I think the way they carry that about is so savage, man, so
I
savage.
agree with you. Like,
Yeah.
prime example. So when I lived in Thousand Oaks, my primary care, or not my primary care, but my gynecological doctor was in Planet Parenthood. That's the one that I could see that was close to my job, close to where I stayed, because I would have to go too far to get there. And so when I would go, you see these people with these signs, they're yelling at me, and I'm like, yo, I'm not here for this. I'm like, there's
See what I'm
women.
saying?
I'm
Yep.
like, there's women that come in here that are pregnant that are actually receiving care from
Yep.
Planned Parenthood. They're not everybody that walks through here is getting an abortion. And you
Yep.
guys need to think about that. And they're sitting there, they don't know. You're just
Yep.
reacting, you're just doing whatever
Right.
because you've labeled this place like this is an abortion clinic. No,
Yep.
it's a clinic that just
Yep.
so happens to service people who need abortions.
BK
And there's
say, I
some,
just came to pick up some ibuprofen. Like, what's the
Right.
deal, guys?
Yeah.
Leave me
Like,
alone.
and I think
but
those
I'm
are the
like,
same. Go ahead.
yeah, I'm like, there's women in there who have, they're low income and stuff. They're servicing the surrounding community and they have 4 or 5 kids already, a dad that's not involved. And here they are pregnant again. And they realize financially and mentally, they just can't do it because if they had one more child, they would have to quit their jobs to take care of all their kids because they can't afford daycare. And then it's like, well, in order to afford daycare, I would have to pick up another job. Who's going to take care of my kids to make sure they're being treated properly? And it's like these the type of hard decisions that come through. Not to mention people who didn't, they got married, they didn't do the blood test to make sure that they didn't have sickle cell and that they didn't have a carrier, and then they get together to realize they have genetic traits that make it impossible for them to have a baby that will be healthy. They come
Now,
with these deformities or malfects, and even some in which where the placenta is attached to the baby, like it's not attached to the mother's womb and stuff, and so it tears away, killing the mother and baby upon birth. So it's like, what if a woman comes in with her husband? They didn't do this test, and they're like, well, the husband's like, I can lose my wife if she gives birth. And the woman's like, I don't want to die. I'm willing to adopt and willing to do whatever. But they're like, oh, nope, you're 6 weeks pregnant.
So let me ask you this, BK. I want to touch on more on this right here. I didn't send this into my list of questions, so y'all forgive me. But I thought of something. The women that agree that this should be a law, that hey, the federal government should govern your body and it should be outlawed and illegal to have abortion. The women that agree with that, right? Because Lachelle said the radical men, right? We got the radical men. You got the guys here, me and Mike, who don't agree with that, right? What do you think? Where does it come? What leads a woman to agree with this, in your opinion?
That
What
could
plays into it?
be one, it could be related, radical religious beliefs, just holding really strong to that. Or some women, honestly, I would have to leave it to just that. I have a hard time wrapping my brain around someone who is just, free loving, that would think like, no, 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 this is just not right, and being really radical about it. And I don't find too many women that are like that.
I
Too many
have
women that are willing to control like that. But what
Mhm.
about you, Larisha?
I I think one, it could be women who've been through some kind of trauma of their own. Maybe they can't have children. So there's a jealousy and there's a hate towards
mm,
women, and they need to do some self work, but they're not even taking the time to realize that they're projecting,
Mm.
whatever's going on internally with them onto a lot of women.
like here you
So,
are getting rid of a kid that I wish I had.
yep, yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I also believe that some women just haven't thought of the idea of pro-choice. And I say that because for years, like majority of my life, my mom thought she was against abortion. She really did. And then something happened where some kind of conversation happened with her at school or something. And she came to me and she's like, I thought I was like against abortion, but I'm actually pro choice. And I mean, almost my whole life, my mom had not just realized that it's not yes or no, it's
Hmm.
people deserve the opportunity to make their decision. She had me at 16. She maybe I don't she wasn't given the opportunity, like she was told she's having that baby. She was like, my grandma was like, you having that, you did it, you're having that
Right.
baby, you gonna finish school and you gonna raise that baby. So I don't think she had the choice. And I think my grandmother taking that choice from her probably influenced her to grow up thinking majority of her life that she was against abortion until her eyes were open. Did she realize like, oh no, like I'm actually pro-choice, people
I
should
actually
be able to make that decision.
Wow.
I do think generational things have a lot to do with it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I also believe in a case of, how do I want to say this?
You're supposed to be saying yes or not, Mike.
No. So let me ask this. number one, I always thought it was weird that people that's not in our demographic can make choices for me, all out of government. I always thought that was weird. But so here's what I want to ask you, ladies. Do you believe what your earnings should matter on an abortion or not too?
Hmm.
Meaning, hey, you know what? I only make 35,000 a year. Here I am on kid number four. Should you think that should be a law or something in that case?
I think that's a determining factor for women, and it's up to them individually on whether or not you know they want to proceed with abortion or not based on their income. Like that's something you write down when you're going over your pros and cons. And pros and cons aren't just tangible things like money; it's intangible things like your mental health and well-being, and the
Mm-hmm.
mental
Yeah.
health and well-being of the kids. If you have four and you bring in another one, like
Yep.
what does that look like?
Yep.
Because you know
Emotional
So,
you have
threshold.
those radicals out there talking about, they're taking tax dollars by getting food stamps and blah blah blah. So that's why I posed that question, because I was talking to one of the lady who cut my hair yesterday. We was talking about what we was going to talk about today, and she was like, you ever considered like your finances should play a part in it, and yeah, it do make you ask that question. However, I still believe people still should make a choice. However, I do see what she's saying is like she's telling me, hey, I spend over $20,000 a year on taxes, and then it's like, you mean to tell me you would selfishly do that? This is her exact words. You would selfishly have babies and knowing you can't afford them, knowing that the government's going to assist you with money I'm giving.
Wow.
and
Those are her
I
exact
do not,
words.
I know people, because I come from rough places, so I know people that
Mm.
strategize, with the kids
Wow.
and the kids having kids, and it's a generational thing. They literally tell their kids it's time for you to have kids. So, and I don't agree with that. However, with that woman who posed that question, I would say, have you ever considered the fact that children have the ability to make people rise to the occasion
Hmm. My
as
daughter changed
well?
my life.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
So just like you looking at the cup half empty, saying that this person having this child is going to cause financial stress on the government and the people paying taxes. And first of all, that's a lie, because our tax system is set up how they wanted it to be set up. And that's
Correct.
why it is the way that it is. But you can go to other countries and have free healthcare for everybody, and women get time off after giving birth or when they have their menstrual cycles. Like, like
Mm-hmm.
come on now. Like
Wow.
it was set up that way by people who are in power, who want to keep it that way so that they can remain in power. So, that's kind of a moot point for me anyway.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, while she's looking at the glass half empty and how she thinks it affects her, because I'm really sure if you pinch the pennies down, her taxes probably like this much of her
Right.
taxes goes towards that
Mm.
anyway. Somebody else can be looking at the glass half full.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
doubt, man.
See,
So
I like having conversations with people like that.
for
If
sure.
if I'm feeling froggy, I'd be like, jump.
So not comparing a child to a pet, but so you're saying that that kid can be that emotional support that a parent may need as well.
Not emotional support. Maybe, yeah, maybe though.
Yeah.
But that kid could be, you know, all right,
Your
I gotta
motivation.
do better. I gotta
Yeah.
figure it out. I gotta get my kids out of this situation. I
That's
have to
fair.
take that risk. I have to do what it takes to create a better lifestyle, to get them in a better environment. That kid can be that. My mom did that for me and my brother. She knew she had to get us out of New Orleans because
Mm.
it was my 21-year-old brother who sent me the suicidal message a month later was killed.
Wow.
So my mom at an early age, she knew, and she had a little something when she left New Orleans. because of the loss of her late husband. But her friend who encouraged her to leave had left New Orleans with 3 young boys in a car. That was it. She had
Mm.
nothing. And she's
It was just
figured it
that
out,
serious.
and
Yeah.
she's very successful now, and she has a great life for herself and her kids. But yeah, it was that real. I have to get them out of here or they're not gonna make it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, man.
Wow.
All right, so before we hop into our last question, then, let's get a word from our sponsors, man. Let's hear a word from them.
For years, I've been known as a guy that's dedicated his whole life to technology and music. I've done it for corporate for 15 years, and now I get a chance to do it here with you at Ambassador Studios. Hi, I'm Tarmel Daniel, and every week I want to introduce you to some of the most brilliant people on this planet as we discuss their brands, events, and their approach to their craft. We'll talk about their failures as well as their success. We will discuss blueprints, plans, ideas, and possible partnerships will form. Never know who might walk through the doors. This is the code where we vibrate at a creator's frequency.
Bet, and that's a word from our sponsor, man. So one more question for you ladies before we get out of here. We didn't kept the people long on this one, but this topic is that important that I'm sure they won't mind. Question for y'all. If God was making this decision, what do you think he would make the law? Whichever one of y'all want to take the pressure and
Mm.
answer that first. What do y'all think?
I think that if God was making the decision, the God that I know today is that he wouldn't want us to do it, but it would still be our choice to do. So he would put it into our hands to make that decision for ourselves.
Nice. What about you, Lachelle? What do you think God would make the law?
I think God already made the decision,
Mm.
right? He sent
That's
his son here so that he, through his son, could understand the complexities of this life and empathize and sympathize with us. And so we would still be able to, when we take our last breath, join him in heaven. So he already made the decision for us to have that choice. There's no need for him to make another law. It's already done.
That's
that's fire, man. That's good. That's real good. You better preach. All right, so to wrap up on this, man, uh laws provide automation. Laws are in place that when something occurs, there's already a set in place process to address it. In the IT world, we call that automation, right? They're they provide automation. I work in identity and access management. I'm an engineer, right? At the beginning of a project, we sit down and we see if we can set up access based upon a criteria, right? A set criteria. If we arrive at a situation where the criteria has so many variations and variables, we make the decision that automation does not fit. In this case, abortion has many scenarios and many different situations. There's health situations, there's spiritual situations, there's financial situations, there's emotional situations, there are mental situations. There's too many variables to provide automation. So if any lawmaker is watching this, or you know one, or you got some influence with one, automation just doesn't fit, man. And that's from GMD. And as always, man, make sure y'all hit that like and subscribe button. Hey, I want to tell the world this is a BK episode, man. I want to switch this up real quick. BK sent me some beer cream, some beer butter about a month ago, month and a half. Just surprised me with it. She asked for my feedback. I haven't sent it. I'm about to give it to her right now, live on the show. This beer butter, y'all, I wear this every day. Smells so good. I get a hint of like citrus in it, and I love the consistency in it. It's like in between lotion. It's not thick, it's not like liquid like lotion, and it's not super thick like most beer butters. And it's been getting me, it's been getting me nice out here. You know what I'm saying? I just want to plug Be Adored, you dig? and say shout out to
Hey,
BK, man.
BK, does this count as a beard at all? Like,
It
I
doesn't
think
do
you could do a
it doesn't
little something.
it doesn't do miracles, Mike.
sit.
Don't do that.
It's a start. It's a start.
For sure. But I definitely had to shout out BK on that. But again, make sure y'all like and subscribe. Make sure y'all hit us up on Instagram. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check out Cigars with Mike. I think it's cigarswithmike83.com.
Yeah,
Hit them up on Instagram. Hit the shell up. Definitely, if you in Ventura County looking for some property, make sure you get with Lachelle. Flat out. Because you got a God-fearing woman that's she's not gonna cheat you in the process, and she's gonna assist you and help you with tools as a new homeowner, right? Am I right on that? Did I misspeak?
Absolutely correct.
That's what's up, man. So yeah, of course, and again, shout out to the Chief Geek, Tarmel, and catch us next time. And y'all know how we
hold it,
do it. What
hold
up?
it.
What up?
Also, Marcel the MC On God single is out right now. BurlowShades.com.
Yes,
Check
sir.
them out. Video is out on YouTube as well. I'm his music director, so we're going to be working on this project. We're going to be
Yes, sir.
giving you guys some great content coming up. So go support, hit the stream button, buy, so this thing can go platinum so it can reach the nations. On God, out right now.
Appreciate
Apple
you,
Music,
sir.
Spotify, everything. Boom, 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 boom.
Good looking out, man. And shout out to Ambassador Studios for sure. And y'all know GMD is all on us. I
I
Woo
know.
woo.
know. We'll catch y'all next time. Peace.